Hey, it's Danielle McCulley here in Seattle, also known as DMAC, and today I wanted to talk about trend lines because I know that you probably hear it all the time. Wait for the trend line break and retest before you enter a trade. And so, then I realized if you're new to trading, you may not even know how to properly use a trend line. So that's what I want to talk about today because I just recently had someone, a member of the chat group, ask if I could make a video to show them how I use the trend lines. I'm not saying this is the right way, but I will show you how I use them. So that's what I'm going to be doing today in this short video. So right now, I have pulled up on the screen AU, and this is TradingView. It's a free platform. I like to do majority of my markups. Well, I do all my markups on TradingView, but sometimes I will use the MT4 to mark some things up, especially just like with trend lines, to help with entries. Like I said, wait for that break and retest. But I will walk you through the process that I use. Now, I do have AU already marked up, so yeah, I'll just get started and I'll just kind of go over what I've marked up, and then I'll hop over to the AgMet and I'll just go through the same process. All right, so I like to start on the daily chart, and what I do is I like to restrict the market from the top. So you can see I have a trend line right there, and I like to restrict the market from the bottom. So if I could go like that. That can also be a trend line, it would be more like that on the daily. That can also be daily support. So that's another thing. Trend lines, they act as, support and resistance as well. So let me just delete this. Not that, this trend line here. Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I start on the daily, restrict the market from the bottom and the top. So, it kind of formed a little triangle there, as you can see, right? And like I said, I could have drew a trend line from here and up that way, but I'm just concerned about this area because that's where, current price is at. And so after I restrict it from the daily, I will hop down to the 4-hour. I'm sorry, I'm on my laptop and the screen is so small. So I will hop down on the 4-hour. Right? Okay. So there you have it on the 4-hour. And then I will do the same thing. Yeah, just kind of look at price. You can see I restrict it from the bottom here. So this is the 4-hour trend line, as you can see right here. I still have the daily. I have them marked here. So this is the daily, the thicker one. I should have did them different colors, but I don't know. I know what they are, but hopefully you guys are following along. And this would be the daily one from the top that I restricted. And you can see how price kind of respects, that trend line. And usually I like doing the daily, starting with the daily. I don't know, I like doing that, but I know some people may just start with a 4-hour chart and then work their way down. So basically, once I've restricted it from the top and the bottom, I will go down to you can go down to the 1 minute, the 30 minute, the 15 minute. I'll usually drop down to the 15 minute and I will look for entries. So this is kind of, what I see AU doing. It's still very, very bearish, a lot of bearish momentum. But I think it is due for a price correction or pullback, whatever you want to call it. So I do see maybe it going down to test this 4-hour trend line, maybe a nice pullback before it continues the downtrend. So once you have it on the 4-hour, right? You can jump down. Let's see how it looks on the 1 hour. It's pretty much the same. You know, you can jump down to the 1 hour. So this is the daily. Remember, that's the daily. So this break has already occurred, and a lot of times, I mean, this thing is just ripping down to the downside, so it hasn't even pulled back to actually go back and retest that daily trend line. And just like anything else, a trend line is always going to be stronger on the higher time frame. So that's why you want to draw your trend lines on the 4 hour or the daily. If you're scalping, you can start with the 1 hour and then drop down to the 30-minute or 15-minute and wait for the entries and look for the entries there. But let's see how it look on the 15-minute. So, sorry, let's see. Right. So like I said, this has already, it has already occurred here, right? So this is an old example. That's why I'm just going to, I mean, the trend line break has already occurred, so you wouldn't be able to actually see what I'm talking about, but you can get an idea how I drew this line here on the daily. And then let's say if price was up here, you know, you just have to wait. You're waiting for it to break that trend line, but not only that, this is a 15-minute, so you could have, I'll show you something else. You could always use a counter trend line. So this is a downtrend, but you can draw a counter trend line like this, and that could give you a nice entry too. So you wait for that break, and then you could just take it from, I mean, you can enter here and then take it down to this trend line. Now, the daily trend line. And then you can kind of wait to see how price reacts to this daily trend line. As you can see, it did break it. It pulled back. So it did actually give a retest. And then it just dropped. So that could have been, you could have entered here, taken your take profit at this daily support, secured the back, and then upon the continuation of the downtrend, you could have waited till it broke this, retested. You could have entered again here, and you could have, you know, you could have just wrote that down for more pips. All right, so let me hop over to the agment to basically walk you through this and show you how it works on the agment. So I'm going to delete some of these MAs just to like make it a little bit cleaner. I know people talk about my charts looking like a circus, but I don't care. The MAs, they work for me. So like I always say, do what works for you. Who cares what it looks like, right? All right, so this is a U on the daily. So again, all you want to do is, well, what I do is just restrict this from the bottom. And let's make, we'll change the colors on it. So that will be, we're going to make it black. And then restrict it from the top. And when you're drawing your trend lines, you want to make sure that you go like wick, from wick to wick. You don't want to cut in price and start, you know, cutting off candles and things like that. So really what you want to do is from wick to wick. I can go here, but I would probably do it like that. Oh, it's going to jump up there anyway. Huh? All right, so this is the MT4, so it's, I don't know, it's been a little weird. We'll just do it from that wick to that wick. All right, so that is how you would, well, that's how I would restrict the market on the daily right there. And like you said, it has already just blew past that daily support. And then I would drop down to the 4 hour. And as you can see, you can still see the daily trend lines there. And so let's say if price was just here, pretend this didn't happen, price was just here, you could go ahead and do a 4 hour trend line like this. So I know it starts looking like you got too many lines, but trust me, these lines are very helpful, and they do help you with your entries. So let's change this one. We'll change that one back to the aqua color. So that will be the 4-hour trend line, right? And you can even, on the 4-hour, you can even just like create a little channel there. I mean, these aren't going to be perfect because it's just the MT4. So you can even create a little channel there. And you can see how price just kind of been respecting that channel. And then, you know, it finally broke right here. Finally broke right here. You know, didn't even really hesitate at the daily trend line. It just blew past that as well. So that's really some heavy bearish momentum right there. So, and you can do these, like I said, you can do them on any time frame. I mean, if you want to, you can jump down to the 1 hour, but I usually, like I said, if I'm scalping, I like to use the 1 hour for analyzing, and then entries on the maybe the 30-minute or the 15. But you can always use, you can see this is a downtrend, you know, and this little angular momentum thing is telling you it's a downtrend. You can always use a counter trend line. I mean, it looks ridiculous, but something this simple, this simple will help you improve your entries a lot. And basically what it's going to come down to is going to come down to patience, because you're going to have to, you want to wait until it breaks these trend lines, and then you can enter. Like I said, it's not going to always break it and then come back up and retest and tap it, but usually that's what you're looking for. But sometimes, you know, it just kind of keeps pushing down. So this counter trend line, as you can see, my little red dot entry, it would have been perfect right there. Perfect. So that's what I'm saying. Something this simple, like if you're having trouble or issues with, you know, these the white arrows, and they're repainting, you know, on these lower time frames. Some people say they repaint on the higher time frames. But I'll talk about that in my next video. But if you're having trouble with your entries, something so simple as drawing a trend line will make a huge difference, right? So, and that's pretty much it. I mean, this is the most basic thing you can do. I don't know. Some people just use the 15-minute. I don't know. And so this is the 15-minute. So this is, remember, you don't really see the daily trend line. Well, you can't see it. Yeah, this is why I don't like using MT4 for marking up charts. But so the daily doesn't show on the 15-minute. Let's see if we jump on the 30. Okay, so if you see it on the 30-minute, you can see the daily and the 4-hour trend lines, right? So remember, we restricted it from the top. So this black line here, I'll make it a little bit thicker so you can see it. So that was a daily, and this is also the daily from the bottom. Okay, so you can see how this is actually the 30-minute. So they did show up. You can see the daily on the 30-minute, and if you were waiting, I mean, if you were looking for a good entry, this would be great confirmation here, because you have, remember, the aqua was the 4-hour trend line, which price respected, and you also have this daily. Now the daily that's acting as some strong resistance. So you can see the wicks, 1, 2, 3. The agment signal appeared here, and this was actually a good signal. It just kind of went down. It didn't pull back, so you didn't have any drawdown. Not only that, you have this resistance zone right here that's plotted on the agment. So those are a couple of confluences letting you know that, you know, this thing is struggling to keep pushing up. So you could be anticipating a drop here. And then, of course, if you go down here and you look at the little Maxwell equation, you can see right here, you can see the drop. It confirms the sell. You know. And let's say you missed it. You like came back and you looked at your screen and you're like, oh man, I missed that entry right there. But guess what? Remember, you transformed. Transformed. What am I talking about? Remember, you restricted the market from the bottom too on the 4 hours. So even if you miss this, even if you miss this, you can wait for this break. So this would probably be the break that you're looking for. And let's see. You can see it broke this. It did come back and retest. You see it wicked it, and then it just dropped. So that would have been like 130 pips right there. And that's on the 30-minute. Like I said, you can look for entries on the 15-minute too. You can still see there's the daily right here from the bottom. You can barely see. There it is from the top. And then you got your 4-hour trend line. So you would probably more, I would go off of the 4-hour trend line if I'm looking for entries on the 15-minute. So this would have been your entry here. And as you can see, you get my little red dot here, right? Red little dot saying go ahead, you can enter for the sale. This with no drawdown on this, a quick 70 pips, all right? And then you could have taken that, actually, you could have taken this so it broke that. You already know you restricted it from the bottom on the daily, so you could have entered here. You probably would have got out with this pullback signal from the agment. But you could have taken it down to the daily trend line for 78 pips, almost 80 pips. All right. And then, so that would have been a good entry. Also, this would have been a good entry because this is where it broke the daily. So if you would just like wanted to re-enter this trade, this would have been good. An additional 52 pips. So that's pretty much it. That's how I use trend lines. I start at the daily. I will do the 4-hour. Sometimes I'll do it on the 1 hour too. Let me see. I'm gonna hop back over here. I'll show you another example real quick, and then I'll be done. So I had this charted up. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to the daily. It looks a mess on here right now. You can't really see it. So it looks like a lot of lines and just a mess, right? But once you get comfortable doing this, you'll be able to like it will actually give you a clear vision. I know it sounds crazy because it looks like a mess, but it will give you a clear vision of what price is doing. So again, you know, starting with the daily, restrict from the top, restrict it from the bottom. Jump down to the 4-hour. Let's widen this little screen here. Okay, so you got your daily up here. You can still see that. You can see the one at the bottom. I did create, this is on the 4-hour, so I restricted it here from the top, from the bottom. Let's see. And it even looked like, I don't know if this is 4-hour or maybe I did that on the 1 hour. It's hard to tell on this little screen, but you can see, yeah, so I created this little channel within the channel, if you can see that, right? So this is like the daily channel that was created. And then I created this channel within the daily channel. And as you can see, it did break, you know, price did break out here. Well, this is a little bullish flag that was formed. Let's see, drop down to the 1 hour. Okay, so this might, I think I did, so here you have the 4-hour trend line from the top, restricted from the bottom, and then this is done on the 1 hour. So the 1 hour restricted from here and restricted from the top. And you can see how, you know, to confirm a trend line, it usually needs about 3 to 4 touches. And as you can see, you know, it played out well. So get your bullish flag here. It did break out. It came back and pushed up. And not only did it break out this bullish flag, but it also broke above the 4-hour trend line. Came back, did the retest here, and then it pushed up again. So, like I said, it's something that's simple. It just is going to come down to patience. You being patient and just waiting for that break and that retest. All right, so hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you still have questions about trend lines and how to use them, hit me up on Facebook and I'll see what I can do to help you further understand, or maybe we can hop on a Zoom. You can show me how you've been using trend lines, and yeah, we could kind of go over what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, things like that. All right, so stay tuned for my next video. I am going to give a complete review of the AgMed 2018 version. All right, so I know a lot of you guys are waiting on that, and that will be coming soon in the next video. All right, and for those of you out there that do not have the AgMed, if you would like this system, there will be a link below this video. Feel free to just click on that link. It'll take you over to my website. You can learn more about the AgMed, and you can decide if it's something that you would like to add to your trading arsenal. All right, it's a really good system. I like it. I love the old version, so of course I like the new version, but yeah, we'll talk about that in the next video. All right, I believe the market's just open, so happy trading. I hope everybody has a great trading week, and I'll see you in the next video.